Hello and welcome to another macro video. Slightly different today in that we're using this video as a means of documenting a macro. We're looking at ChapterChopper, which is the basic idea is that you have an incoming file, a large one, and you want to chop it into smaller files. So obviously we're thinking mainly of books that we want to chop into chapters. Okay, there are two different macros that do that sort of thing. There's File Chopper, which chops into separate files using page breaks. So if the document already has page breaks, that's fine, or you're going to have to put them in. It's a fairly old macro, 8 years old, so I'm always nervous of older ones. It may work, who knows. But the one we're working on today is one that I've reprogrammed from scratch recently. ChapterChopper, same sort of idea, chopping the text into chapter files. So let's have a go. Right, so to prepare for this, what we have to do is to work out a way of finding each chapter, and then we need to have a blank file ready so that we can take a chunk out of the main file, put it in the blank file, save that with a particular name, reload the blank file, put some more in there, save it as another name, and so on. So let's have a go at that. So first we have to work out a find for the beginning of each chapter, and that usually means using wildcards. And if you're not sort of au fait with that particularly, then don't worry, give me a shout and we'll see what we can do for your particular file. But it may be that the one provided by the macro as standard will do what you require. So let's have a look at the file, my dummy file, just as a way of having something to work on. So it's got some preliminaries. It's got chapters that begin with 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, which is fine. And I've put some track changes in so that you can see that it actually works with track changes. So we need to find a way of looking at the individual chapter headings, and what I'm going to suggest is that you use instant find down wild for testing your idea of how to find a chapter. My first idea that I used was to find either a carriage return or a page break, because some of the chapters start with a page break, start after a page break, and they have 2 digits, which is fine. But then I thought, hang on a minute, it would be more sense to have it so that it's either 1 or 2 digits. So that's digit 0 to 9. How many 1 or 2? From 1 to 2. So that's the idea that I'm going to use. So if I copy that and put it at the beginning here, which is when I'm testing a wildcard, this is the way I do it. Pop the cursor in the top there and run instant find down wild, and it jumps to the first item. So as you'll notice there, it's selected the 0, 1, but it's also selected the carriage return there from the previous line. And you'll see the importance later. Notice that the carriage return is a different size. It's the size of the earlier paragraph, and the 0, 1, the size is the size of the title there. So if I go through and look at those, I go 1, 2, 3, that's all right. Now then that's not a chapter start, so that's the point I'm saying, that I have to do something to say, well, yes, paragraphs that start with a single or double digit number, but they must be the size of the headings here, which are in 22 point. So that's what we do for that. So what's next stage? Okay. Yeah, we've got numbered lists to watch out for, so we're going to add a font size, and the fact that the font size was different on the previous chapter means that you can't just search for it, because if you say look for a carriage return and a number in 22 point, it won't find that because it isn't all in 22 point. So I've had to put in the macro a a tester for the size of the heading. Okay, but the next thing we need to do is to create a blank file. So what we do is we open the incoming file. Let's just make this small so we can see what's going on. So we're going to open the incoming file. We're going to save as, and the name that the macro is looking for is AA blank. And we have to remember to switch the track changes off. The track changes need to be off both on the original and on the, let's get rid of that, the original and on the blank file. So that's important to switch the track changes off, because otherwise the track changes won't transfer from one file to the other. Then we need to delete all the text in this file and resave it. So you've saved as AA blank, and therefore you're not going to lose your original file. There's my original file. So what I'm going to do is save as, and I'm going to call it AA blank, and save that. Then I'm going to select the whole thing, delete it, and save it again with Control S. So there's my AA blank file ready to roll. Okay, so let's get our original file back. Is that the right one? Yeah, that's the right one. Okay, so we've got, that's the file that we're going to work on. Have we done everything? Yep, I think we have. So we're ready to roll. So we run the macro, so run ChapterChopper, there it is, run. First thing it does is ask to make sure that we've already created a blank file. We say yes. Then it says it can't find the blank file. So if I just pause, sorry, I looked in the wrong file. Right, okay, so let's try running it again. So we're looking for ChapterChopper. ChapterChopper run. Have we got a blank file? Yes, we have. Really do have. So it's selected the first bit, and it says, do you want to save it as chapter 00 and continue? So we're saying yes, that it's got the right thing. So let's get going, and off it goes. So it's got 1, 2, 3. It's going through all those funny ones. It's found 4 and 5, and it's now finished. It's created 5 files. So let's have a look and see what we've got. See if we've got the files we want. They should be in here, hopefully. At the top, I think. There they are. So we've got chapter 0 up to chapter 4. So if we open those and have a look, then there we go. So that's 0. No, there's 3. Chapter 3, yes, 03. Chapter 00, yes, that's the prelims. 2 is 2, 4. Well, they're all in funny order, but anyway, that's it's done what I want them to. Okay, so let's just have a look at the let's just look at the start of the macro in order to see how all these things are set up. Not that one. We want the start of the macro, which is that one, or at least a copy of it. Here we go. Right, so in case you need to sort of fiddle around with any of these things, this is the beginning of the macro, and you can see what bits are there. First thing is you need to set up the My folder. Mine was set up obviously to the file on my computer. So if you're on a Mac, you've got one particular form of My book folder, the URL, the address for it, and if it's on Windows, it's the one with the backslashes and so on. Right, so there's my find item. The move start bit is because I found both the carriage return and the chapter number, and so I had to move the start to the beginning of the next line, in other words, to just the number. Font size is 22. I've called the first name 00 because that's what we decided to do. For each one, the chapter numbers were there, but you can add a chapter so and so or whatever you want to, or if you don't want that, then you put chapter prefixes nothing, and that's the name of the blank file. So okay, right, well, I think that's about it really. If you have any questions, give me a shout. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye for now. How do I get out of here? Oh yes, that's right.